Thanks for staying with us. We continue our focus on South African stock exchanges and the benefits of having multiple exchanges. I'm joined now by Fay Mukaddam. She's the CEO of 4Africa Exchange. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on SABC News. How does an exchange like yours add value to the South African economy?
Thank you, Nzinga. The 4Africa Exchange platform is an alternative platform whereby trading can take place, but the difference with our platform is not only are we a fully fledged, well-regulated stock exchange, but we're looking at bringing both institutional and retail investors together. So hitherto, where you would have seen a large part of the market being excluded for a variety of reasons, you're now looking at certainly more inclusion, which will make it more competitive, and yeah, I think that there'll be a lot more widespread trading.
You've spoken about the need for inclusiveness and transformation in the industry. How do ordinary South Africans get involved in a stock exchange like yours?
I think the first thing we need to understand, though, is not everybody would want to be involved in the trade space in an exchange, because trading is a risky business. So you need to understand, especially for a retail investor, that you're not going to be trading using your grocery money, for example, and it's not like a money market account where you can put money in and take it out at the end of the month. So once people understand that, there has to primarily be a massive education undertaking whereby people understand what even the verbiage or the jargon means. So once you've done that and people have understood what it means to trade, the retail investor, whether you have 1,000 Rand or 10,000 Rand saved, you can then trade it. With 4AX, you don't have a minimum trading fee either. So anybody could then get involved in this space. The real, where the rubber hits the road, is to understand, though, that it is about looking to conserve and preserve and grow your wealth. So now all of a sudden people that have been excluded can participate in this space. What we've done is we've signed a partnership with Gauteng Provincial Government, where the Premier, as I'm sure you know, has focused a lot on the revitalization strategy, looking at bringing township economies into the more formal economy. So again, it's not just retail investors, institutional investors, medium-sized companies that might be very active and wanting to list and haven't listed up to now for a variety of reasons. So if you bring all that together, all those different parts together, where you are creating an effective marketplace, where the regulations have not been relaxed, not in any shape or form, but things are well regulated, they're clearer, they're transparent, you can then do something special.
We've spoken previously to another exchange that's opening. What kind of effect does this have on the South African market and the prices, if any, of the different stock exchanges?
Well, I think I've always maintained that the South African capital market has the depth and certainly is elastic enough to absorb more than one exchange. I also think that a lot that is lost in terms of the reporting and what the public know is that these different exchanges actually have different business models. And so we are targeting different parts of the market. 4AX, for example, is not an online trading platform. We are a fully fledged stock exchange akin to the JSE, and we have been licensed to trade across asset classes, unlike some of the others. So I think that, first of all, that needs to be understood, which is a nuance and a differentiator. But what it does do generally is it gives the consumer choices. And I was looking at an insert just now, earlier, where the gentleman was saying that it makes a lot more sense in terms of competition where prices are reduced. With 4Africa Exchange, we have ensured that whilst we don't relax the regulation, we've taken out a lot of the layers which definitely contribute to additional costs. So it's simplified listing requirements, simplified fee structures, simplified structures themselves, and all that goes or contributes towards inclusion.
Okay, earlier our guest from ZARX spoke about also the need to work with other exchanges across the African continent. Is that something that you're looking to do or are doing?
Indeed. I think that the narrative of Africa rising, whilst it might be jaded, it's certainly not something that can be dismissed. We're the youngest continent and we have a lot to offer. So whilst we are anchored and based in South Africa, and that's where we have our license, we certainly do have an expansion strategy, but it's also across emerging markets. The thing is that 4AX, again, because of its business model and the fact that it is a proper stock exchange, we are not going to limit ourselves to Africa, because we are also, if there are any businesses that might want to do an inward listing onto our exchange, onto our platform, then we are happy to have them, and that doesn't matter as to where they might find themselves in the world.
Thank you very much for your time on the news at 1. It's time for a short break. More business news. Do stay with us.